We are live on YouTube. And Aisha has joined as well.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, Aisha.
Walaikum assalam. Just Alhamdulillah, I'm all good. How are you guys doing?
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah.
Just trying to figure out my webcam. So can you just give me 1 minute for that?
Sure. Take your time.
Yeah. Okay, so I think it's better to use the built-in webcam. Hello, hi everyone.
Hello.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Hi, Mustafa, Ryan, Abdullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Sophia, ma'am, Hina.
Hi, Aisha. Good to see you after such a long time.
Yes, ma'am. It's really good to see each one of you.
Same here. We welcome you in our camp. And now Ma'am Sobia will lead this camp. She is our coding teacher for Python.
So Aisha, this is a coding camp in which we are having 3 smart learners. I would say Abdullah is 14 years and he's the eldest in our camp, but still very young. Then Ryan, he's from London and he's just 13 years of age. And then we have Mustafa, he's 9 years of age and he is a brilliant coder in his age. I'm so impressed with all 3 of them. So they have learned the few basic concepts from Python, like how to get the input, how to display the content on screen, what are the variables, some background from the turtle. They have created some animations and some GUI applications. So Abdullah will start with his presentation and then you can proceed with some questions if you want. So Abdullah, can you present your presentation better?
Yes. My name is Abdullah Faiz. I recently joined Python coding camp from WeePro, and this is my presentation. Let's start. So first, my reason to learn Python. My reason to learn Python was to improve my skills so that skills can come in handy in future. So, and the next one is to learn something new. So I used it to learn. I joined Python to learn something new. So to improve my knowledge, as you can say, a fun activity. As you can see, the study of the students at our age is very hard. So it is a good and fun activity for them to learn. Next, my learning in Python. I learned many things in Python. For example, I also created a calculator and a grocery list. I learned many things about how to code, about different languages of computer. Python is also one of them. I learned about different commands in Python. I learned about GUI, the graphical user interface. I learned about turtle drawing. Turtle drawing is the basic thing through which we created our game, the final game. I also used variables, how to take inputs from the users which is using our game, and I also created interfaces, and I also put functionality, and I also learned how to make a game. The gameplay of my game. In this game, I created a rainbow fidget spinner. So it when it works as when you press the space bar, it will spin as fast as you press the space bar. It will spin as fast, and then when you stop pressing the space bar, we created it like that. When you stop pressing the space bar, it will stop automatically. There is also the code for this game. How I'm feeling more powerful by learning Python. I learn how to code. I can make my own game and I play it. I usually play the game which I created, the Rainbow Spinner, and I can create anything. Like I created a calculator, I used it well, and like I also created a grocery shopping list, and that's how I'm feeling powerful by learning Python. Next, my parents' reaction after me learning Python, coding in Python.
I am Shabana Fez. My son Abdullah Fez recently joined WeePro Python coding camp. It was very good experience. Abdullah learned new skills, and I hope it will help in future. Inshallah, it will help him in future. Inshallah. And during course, both coordinator and teacher were very cooperative, and I feel very good. And in future, if there are some more courses, I will join Abdullah inshallah in other courses also. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me the time.
Very good, Abdullah. Good one. बहुत अच्छी presentation थी. I really like it.
Yeah, Abdullah, it
What
was
about-
very, very impressive.
आयशा, इस एज में हम इतना कर लेते थे?
No, ma'am, I think Abdullah has done a phenomenal job.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we started it, for us, it was usually that maybe it's just engineering or it's just becoming a doctor. And I think we started very, very in a way. I mean, that's my biggest learning, that maybe we started coding in a very, very in very later stages. And alhamdulillah, they are doing it at such an early age, and it's really, I think, improving their problem solving skills and the entire mindset of having that confidence and each and everything. So Abdullah, it's a really super impressive and a very, very tremendous job. So
Yes, exactly. Super work, Abdullah.
super work.
So next turn is Ryan's turn. Ryan, kindly present your presentation.
Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, assalamu alaikum. My name is Ryan
And
Khan.
you put it on the presentation mode, then start presentation.
Sorry?
Put it on presentation,
okay.
slide 4.
Yeah. Hello, assalamu alaikum. My name is Ryan Khan. I'm 13 years old, and I joined WeePro Python Coding Camp level 1 3 weeks ago. What have I learned in Python? In this Python course, I've learned the basic mandatory things for Python. I've also learned how to spot errors in code and how to fix them and what they mean. Also, I've slowly moved into the intermediate stage of Python. Tkinter Calculator. My first project for WeePro Academy was to make a Python calculator. When I first saw another student's calculator in the class, I was intrigued by how complex it looked. It amazed me that you can make a calculator from Python. When I had to make the calculator from Python, it was very hard for me to understand as it was one of my first lessons in Python. However, the next lesson, I discussed my difficulties with the teachers at the academy, and they helped me a lot overcome the beginner steps of Python. I was very happy when I found out the basics of Python. Age calculator. In the age calculator, I asked the user for the current year, and then I asked for their birth year. And then I created a variable which was called age, and I instructed this variable to subtract the current year by the user's birth year. I'll show you the calculator. Now I'll show you the age calculator. Grocery shopping receipt. The shopping receipt task was to make a shopping receipt. I did this in a very similar way to the currency converter, as I instructed the computer to multiply the number of which item I am buying by the item's price. My code would do this with several of the items, and the output would be all the prices added up. Like so. Fidget spinner. The turtle fidget spinner was my last project for WeePro Academy, and I programmed an animated fidget spinner with turtle. So when you click the spacebar, the fidget spinner spins, and when you let go of the spacebar, it slows down. Why I learned Python? I learned Python because I want to have a job in the programming industry. I want a job in the industry as it is the next future, and as we already see, the world is turning to computing. For example, here in London, most supermarkets have self-checkout machines, which do not require assistance from people. This indicates that programming is slowly taking up most jobs. What do my parents think? We are very pleased that Ryan is happy about learning Python, and he is very enthusiastic about learning more and more about computers and programming. Thank you.
Good work, Ryan. Well presented. Very good. Very well
Yep.
presented.
Ryan, you mentioned something about those. It was something about self-checkout machines, right, in your presentation?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think since you guys have become familiar with Python, that application is also going to use Python as a backend. It's going to basically detect which particular objects are out there in your cart. So I think you are almost at the. For you, you have already started exploring the entire world. So I'm really super excited for your journey because you are already thinking about from different aspects, and that is really super impressive that at such a younger age you are really exploring things out. And you mentioned that for example, what do the error codes mean, and for example, how they can help you in debugging. So I think that's for me, it's like super impressive, and I think that's truly phenomenal and very exciting to see all of you guys doing it. So thumbs up for that.
Thank you.
Yes, amazing, super amazing.
Thank you, Ryan. So now our little champ, Mustafa's turn.
Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. I am Mustafa Sarfraz from WeePro, and today I'll be sharing my Python projects. In this presentation, I will show the projects I made in this camp, what I learned during this camp, why I chose to learn Python, how I'm feeling more powerful after this camp, and what my parents say about this camp. So let's start. So during this camp, I made lots of programs. I learned writing simple programs and then how to convert them into GUI. And before this, I didn't know that writing instructions on computer can make things happen. I made lots of things in this new programming language and I enhanced my programming vocabulary. I chose to learn Python because I really enjoyed programming and Scratch. So I wanted to explore more about coding. Now, here are all my projects that I'll share. My first project was turtle drawing in Colab. In this, the turtle was the pen, and I wrote instructions in direction and angle to make it in different shapes. Here is some of the turtle code. I initialized the turtle, I made the color for it, and I wrote the instructions for it to make different shapes. This was a grocery list, my second GUI project. In this, I had different entry buttons and a text box. And when I press the equals to button, it would add the sum. I learned how to combine two variables into one entry box. And here is some of the grocery list code. Here are the different entry buttons, and over here is the title for the GUI. And this was my last project, a fidget spinner. In this, this was my last project in Python, and it was made using a turtle module. It basically follows the same idea of the turtle drawing. When we press the space, flick function is called. After that, the update function is called, which makes it move after 20 seconds 10 degrees. After that is the tracer false, which is so that it hides the turtle. And over here is some of the fidget spinners code. Like as you can see, the dots, its color and its size, and how the turtle will draw it.
Assalamu alaikum.
And here is what
I am
my
mother of
parents
Mustafa
say about
Sarfraz.
this camp.
Mustafa is 8 years old, so I was a bit skeptical about him joining the camp. But since I had a very good experience with WeePro a few months back, where Mustafa learned Scratch, I took a leap of faith and enrolled Mustafa in this program. Mustafa enjoyed it a lot like before and learned a lot of new concepts. I cannot say that Mustafa has mastered Python, but surely he's going really fast in this coding world. At such young age, I'm amazed that Mustafa is doing things that we did in graduate level. Kids are fast learners, and I know that these concepts will be piece of cake for Mustafa in his higher studies. I really want to thank WeePro for introducing this world to my kid. Special thanks to the dedicated teachers who very patiently and lively introduce these difficult concepts to such young minds. Thank you, WeePro.
Thank you for taking your time and watching my presentation.
जबरदस्त मुस्तफा, awesome, मजा आ गया देख के। मुस्तफा बहुत मजे की बनाई है, very good, जबरदस्त। This Mustafa.
Mustafa, tell me how powerful you are feeling.
Yeah.
You mentioned in your slides that you're feeling powerful. So how powerful? 1 to 10.
10.
10. 10 out of 10.
11 out of 10.
Okay, that's cool.
सुपर, बहुत मजा आया मुझे देख के। मुस्तफा ने और आयशा, आपको पता है मुस्तफा ने प्रेजेंटेशन खुद बनाई है।
Yeah, that was it's a very creative presentation throughout, Mustafa, and your creative skills, they are very much prominent in that, and it's so happy to see you to have all of this done.
Yes, alhamdulillah.
How did you get the idea of these creative graphics and all of that?
I made this on Canva.
On Canva. Oh,
Canva,
wow.
very good.
I
Very
came to know
good,
about
Mustafa.
Canva after
Zabardast.
my graduation.
Mustafa, see the difference?
Yes.
I would like to add, Aisha, that these learning outcomes are basically the results of Ma'am Sobia's effort for around 4 weeks. And 5th week में हम basically presentations और इन सब चीजों पे काम करते हैं. So ये 4 जितना भी आपको नजर आया इन सब लोगों की presentations, ये 4 weeks की ना मैम सोबिया का मतलब उनके efforts का result है. This is amazing, mashallah. Zabardast.
Yes, I think Ma'am Sobia has put in a lot of effort that is very, very visible throughout, because I think this was not just related to Scratch, but I think their level has already in a way leveled up, because I saw that they have been using Jupyter notebooks, and I mean they have actually started coding from scratch.
Yes, yes. So Aisha, please introduce yourself to students as well, ताकि उनको पता चले आपने किस चीज पे काम किया है और पाइथन पे कब से काम स्टार्ट किया और आप इंडस्ट्री में क्या कर रही हैं। थोड़ा सा आइडिया दें इन बच्चों को ताकि इनको पता चले कि जितना पाइथन से सीखा है क्या नई डायमेंशंस इनके लिए क्या ओपन होते हैं।
Sure. So I'm Aisha Javed, or right now I am working as a software engineer in an IT company. And basically my day-to-day tasks would be such as we would be building applications just like how you guys are building. So for example, right now, how many of you know about Android applications? You guys are familiar with it?
Yes.
But I'm using Apple.
Okay, but you are using Apple, but you have, if I'm not wrong, it's iStore, right? You download apps from over there, right, Mustafa?
Yes.
Right, yeah. So can you give me an example of any application that you recently downloaded?
I downloaded last game.
Yeah. So basically that game is an app. It's an app, or it's an Android application, or it's basically an Apple application, right? So similarly, we have different applications. So right now I am working for an application that can be used by users who are using iPhone or people who are using Android as well. And basically what that app does is that you can use it basically to book a scooter, just like how you could book a ride for yourself using Uber or Careem. So that is what I have been working into lately. And just to go a little bit back into the time, so I actually graduated from FAST. I had my bachelor's, I had my higher studies in computer science. And I remember when I first started, so in my first semester, we were given an assignment where the task was to build games such as Hangman and Brickslayer games, things like that. And then later on, I learned about how we could build Android apps. And I remember that in my first semester, I was trying to build something such as maybe in the middle of night, you are hungry and you want to just take a picture of what's inside your fridge, and maybe you are trying to figure out for a recipe that can, kind of list out to you what ingredients are out there and how you can really cook something out for yourself at that time. And by the way, I learned Python in my 6th semester more, because when I signed up for a course that was related to artificial intelligence, like Ryan, how you mentioned I think you mentioned something about machine learning in your slides, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you have somehow some knowledge about artificial intelligence and machine learning, maybe just what the field is about, right?
Yes.
A little bit about it.
Yes.
So basically that was when I started in Python. I mean, I started out maybe pretty late, but you guys have started out really quickly at such a young age. So that is how I started my Python journey. And later on, I took courses which were more relevant to that. So that has been a few things that I have been doing earlier. And I think it's really exciting to see you guys doing it. So if we talk a few things about, for example, what you guys have for your near future, I think you guys have a really, really bright future. Because I mean, when I was at that age, I didn't have any concept at all about coding. I mean, literally no concept. The most I knew was what are input devices and output devices, and that was it. That was it about computer courses. But I think you guys have started learning about thinking how conditionals work, how control statements work, and all of that stuff. So it's going to really help you guys. So I mean, if you guys are thinking what could be done further from this, so I mean, WeePro has equipped you enough that you can start looking out what particular applications you can build. Maybe the applications that you have built, you can release an application on Google Play Store, so that somebody else, maybe I can download it and then I can play with your apps. I can play with that fidget spinner. So maybe you guys can see how to release what you have built into Google Play Store. Maybe you guys can start your own YouTube channel where you three can team up and teach other kids how they can start their coding journeys. Because I mean, there are many kids who don't even know about it. So they would be looking up to you to learn from it. So I think that's a very good idea where you three can start your own YouTube channel, isn't it? I'm excited for that. Abdullah, Mustafa, and Ryan,
Yes.
thoughts?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So, and maybe you guys can start out writing about things like that. Like, for example, what were the issues that you guys encountered while you were learning all of this stuff, and then eventually how you overcame all of that, and then eventually how you were able to build all of those things that you have just demonstrated, all of those awesome applications. So I think those are a few things that you can look out for. And I mean, this is just the beginning, right? There are many fields now where you can just go and start exploring out by your own self. Maybe there are many good courses out there. And Ryan, maybe you can just look at Coursera what AI and machine learning courses they guys are offering. And I think there is a whole new world of opportunities just waiting for you out there to be explored. So I think those are just a few of my side thoughts, but you guys are really, really in to just start exploring the entire world. Start maybe building up your own applications. How many of you guys play Fortnite or Dota or any other games, huh?
I play any other game.
Can you come again, Mustafa?
Ma'am, I play any other games.
Any other games which are mobile games? And what about you, Abdullah and Ryan?
I play like PlayStation 4 games, so like Call of
I
Duty.
play mobile.
So maybe I think it's time to level up and build up your own game and maybe just release it for other users. And when you do so, maybe you guys can ping me. I would love to be the first one who can start playing with it. It's time to go big, isn't it? I'm excited.
Mustafa, do you have any questions for Aisha?
What was the first project you made?
What was the first project I made? Yeah, so I remember in my first semester, basically I built a hangman game. I started using, there is another programming language that was in C++, but hangman was my first game. I was super happy and I felt super powerful after building it, just like how you were feeling.
Oh.
And
How
Mustafa,
many
C++
applications have you built?
Sorry.
Ask Abdullah again.
I think it was Ryan.
How many applications have you built? How many applications have you built?
How many applications I have built? Okay, so I mean, in my with respect to my job that I currently have right now, there have been a few web applications which were related to basically something that was to be built around having some, how basically you can monitor some applications and how you can then, some other person can use that application to monitor devices. So for example, let's say you have, let's suppose I have like kind of sensors in my home, and let's suppose they're trying to monitor something. And I want to know that, okay, let's suppose, let's say I have like refrigerator, and I have basically some IoT devices in my home, right? So I want to know, let's suppose, is any particular device, are there any chances that any particular device is having more electrical usage as it is supposed to be or not? And I'm supposed to basically see that on my desktop, that how those devices are being monitored. So that was my first application. Right now, what I'm working on is basically, that's an Android application, which allows users to book scooters. Then slowly, I am moving towards building an application where a user can use the Android application to order groceries, and without any minimum delivery charges, and those groceries are supposed to be delivered within 10 minutes. So these are the few things that I've been doing lately.
And after these two projects, which project will you next?
After this project, which project next? Okay, so that's a tough question. That's
But good question as well, Mustafa.
Yeah. Maybe we can team up for your next project.
Okay.
You can think about it, and maybe you guys can build something. Maybe Ryan can build an Android application where basically users can just, kind of scan what's inside their grocery in their cart, and then maybe automatically they can be used by stores to place an order.
Okay.
Aisha, if I'm not wrong, we can build mobile applications on Python as well. Is that so? Instead of going for Java and for Android applications, please comment on that.
I think that should be feasible. That must be, yeah. That support must be available.
So inshallah, in next camp, Ma'am Sobia will be teaching you how to make mobile applications on Python.
Yeah,
Inshallah.
and then releasing it on Google Play Store.
Inshallah. Ryan, do you have any question?
Yeah, how many computing languages do you know?
How many computer languages do I know? Okay, that's a good question. So I started with Python in first semester. I mean, we spent around, I think, 2 to 3 months to get familiar with the flavor of programming, because Python is relatively more easier, because it's really easier to start your programming constructs first, right? But after that, I think for my 2 to 3 years, I was more into C++. But in my sixth semester onwards, I was again more into Python, and I had some good concepts around Java as well. But when I started working, it has been mainly Python, and it has been mainly Golang. Golang is a programming language that was created by Google. Maybe you can look out for it. It's known as Go.
Okay.
Our first project was made in Colab.
Your project was made in Colab. Yeah, I saw that. Yep. I think it was easier for you to use Colab. What was your reason to use it, Mustafa?
Yeah, because we had to make the turtle over there because it won't make in Jupyter.
Yeah. And did you guys encounter any issues while setting up for Colab, or it was relatively easier?
There were some issues.
What were the issues, Mustafa? And how you overcome those issues?
Can, because one time my title wasn't working because I didn't start from the start. I just did initialize title.
Yeah, I get your concept. And then eventually I think you debugged it why it was so, right? Right. And Ryan and Abdullah, what were the bottlenecks for you guys, or what were the main issues that you encountered throughout these learnings?
I had like a few syntax errors in some of the projects I was doing. And then I was just like asking for help, and they were showing me how to like see the errors and stuff, which was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a very important skill, because when we are trying to build applications as well, so debugging that is going to help you a lot. So I think if you have eventually got a hint of that, to learn that basically how you're supposed to debug errors and how they are guiding you in a way to know that what the problem is. So that's a very important skill, I must say, that you have gained throughout your learning. And Abdullah, what were your difficulties or the challenges that you encountered?
Main difficulties were the error.
Right.
There's some issue maybe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you mentioned for you it was also basically how you guys started with debugging, right?
Yes.
Right. So I think you guys know it at least all now from a very, I mean, you have actually been able to get a 360 perspective that how you are going to start with the programming languages, and then how you can debug it at your own. And then, I mean, eventually you can start exploring your own journey from here as well, because now you have everything in your basket. You can start looking out for tutorials, for courses. I mean, there is literally nothing stopping you guys from now on.
Yes.
Yes.
So Abdullah, Mustafa, and Ryan, what next you will be creating in Python?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know, but you can plan. Because we are not ending our skills by today or tomorrow now. We need to practice it in order to have the skills for a long time. So for practice, you need to create more projects, more programs, and you must have some plan in your mind that what next I should be creating and how my concept will be incorporated in that application.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure you must be having a lot many ideas. And maybe you have to pick one, which one to work on.
Mustafa, Aisha, can you shed some light on machine learning, AI? And I would like all of them to just a bit flavor of these fields as well.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, okay. So I remember when I had my first class for AI, it was one of the best classes that I really came across. And it was so fascinating and so exciting to know that basically what really is machine learning and how useful and cool applications you can build using AI and machine learning. So just to give you some idea about it, how many of you have used chatbots? Anybody? Or you guys have not used chatbot before?
I have used Chatbox.
You have used chatbots, okay. Which one?
WhatsApp and this one.
Okay. So basically that's really good to know. So I mean, chatbots are one of the applications that are basically using natural language processing at the back end. So for example, you are going to, I mean, just in a very nutshell, let's suppose you enter a sentence, and now how that machine or how your piece of code is going to interpret that. What is it that users really want to say? Why? Because I mean, just to give you a flavor about that, so user can, you know, kind of, they can input into the system any kind of string or any kind of text message. Let's suppose you are building chatbot for, which is targeted for users who know English language, right? So, but in that particular sense as well, there could be anything that could be entered by the user. So let's suppose if you wanted to build a chatbot for this, so one situation could be maybe you have a lot many if statements in your code, right? Let's suppose if user enters hello, if my input is equal to hello, or if my input is equal to hi, maybe that is what I can respond. But there are numerous inputs, and no matter how many if statements you are going to put in, ultimately there would be something that your if statement would not be capturing, right? So AI and machine learning is all about how you can eventually teach your machines that they can think like humans. Just like, how do you know this is a hand? Why? Right? Because you know that a hand is, there's some kind of pattern that exists. That, for example, it's something that has a particular shape and a particular texture and a particular color, right? So the algorithms, like just how the algorithm you use in creating your applications, that algorithm is a bit different from what you have built in your applications. That is what machine learning is, that you are eventually trying to teach machines how to think like human beings. Try to give that smartness to machines, that instead of having those bunch of if statements, you need to know the pattern, that how you're supposed to identify hand, how you're supposed to identify objects in your cart, whether it is Nescafe coffee or whether it's chocolate or whatever it is. You for example, Ryan, like how you mentioned for your checkout problem, basically what are you going to teach your machine is that maybe if you want your machine to identify chocolates, you are going to input a couple of images that look like chocolates, and then you would expect the machine that, let's suppose you just give it any new image that is a chocolate, it should be able to identify it, that it is a chocolate as well, on the basis of that image and object identification. So that is how I started learning about AI and ML, and there are a lot many applications for that. You guys must have heard of self-driving cars, right?
Yes.
So basically, how are they going to detect that exactly what is the object that is coming in? Is that another car or is that another obstacle? Do I need to put, I mean, do I need to press brakes, or I mean, it's good enough for the car to keep on going? That self-driving cars is another application. Chatbots is another application. Similarly, I read a few days ago that, for example, there is a camera which is constantly trying to monitor what the driver, in what particular state driver is. And let's suppose the driver is getting sleepy, so that system would automatically alert the driver that you need to take rest, and it would be risky that you are sleepy and you're still trying to drive on. So all those applications are basically AI and machine learning applications. Your YouTube recommendations that you see, that are all AI and ML, right? So that is what the field is all about. I think that was, I tried to give you guys a little bit hint about that. And I think maybe you guys, I mean, you guys are smart enough. Maybe you guys can start looking out what particular applications you can build around that.
Yes, here in London as well, we already have self-driving cars on the road. So there's this company called Tesla, where they do electric cars, and they do self-driving cars, and it's really cool because you just have to put in the location, and it senses when there's a truck, lorry, car, van. So yeah, they're quite good.
Yep, exactly. Abdullah and Mustafa, any questions for that?
No.
No?
Okay, so Ryan, Mustafa, and Abdullah. So, are you excited after Python and after interaction with Ma'am Aisha?
Yes.
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 You get to know about very new things about AI, about machine learning, and how your Python is helping you to get into those fields. So, best of luck for your futures as well. And thank you, Aisha. It is a pleasure to have you with us, and your kind suggestions and your appreciation means a lot to these kids. Thank you so much. And
Thank you, ma'am, for thank you for sending the invitation. It was an honor for me to be part of this. I think, again, I mean, we were not taught all of these things. The most we had the knowledge at that age was that just know about the computers in general, and that was it. But they have literally learned a lot, and they have learned good enough that they can start exploring things at their own pace. And considering that they have learned Python and all the applications that you see around you, I mean, they are literally built in Python. So I mean, I'm really happy for them that they have that skill set with them. And I'm patiently waiting that what is that they are targeting to build next.
Inshallah, something more creative.
Yeah.
Inshallah ताला. Thank you so much, Aisha, for joining us. बहुत मुझे मजा आया. मुझे देख के ना फास्ट वाला टाइम याद आ गया. Thank you so much. बहुत मजा आया. Thank you so much for sure. मजा आया मुझे तो.
Thank you आप लोगों का बुलाने के लिए. It was really good to catch up.
ठीक है. चलिए जी session wind up करें मैम सोबिया.
Yes, please.
चलें जी. अल्लाह हाफिज everyone. अल्लाह हाफिज मुस्तफा.
Allah
Hafiz.
अल्लाह हाफिज.